To Module 8, Print Sales and Quoting. Today we're just going to look at what you need to know when it's time to get your job printed. You will contact a print shop and speak with a salesperson. You might speak with an inside salesperson or an outside salesperson. Generally, most print shops have a system like this to where they have an outside salesperson who is outside traveling around, drumming up business, going to different places, trying to find jobs to print. But they also will come and visit you. They'll take your order right there. They'll look at what you have to print. And once your job is in process, they'll deliver proofs to you. They might deliver files back and forth. And they're generally the front line of communication. They're out there working on commission, and they want to treat you well and keep you coming back as a good customer if you're a good client for them. And meanwhile, they'll have a partner who is in the print shop, and they stay there in the office, and they track all the jobs that this outside salesperson brings in. So they work together. They communicate very intimately about all the jobs that are going on, when things are due, the importance of them, the quality needs, and everything. And so they work together. And the inside salesperson will be able to track your job for you through production, so they can see where it's at, how it's going. They might be contacting you if there's an issue or a problem, or maybe they'll tell the outside salesperson to contact you. But basically, they're a second line of communication. In case the outside sales is not available, you have the inside sales to work with. So it's a team system, and it's pretty common in many print shops. Also, within the print shop office, the sales office, there's a couple other employees. You can see here on this list, I have the outside sales and the inside sales. And then there's another employee that's the estimator. The estimator has a computer program. They have software that is set up with all of the machinery costs for the print shop. So each press, each folder, each cutter, each operation has a cost assigned to it. So it might cost a press $50 an hour to run, or a folder costs $30 an hour, something like that. And what the estimator does is they take the details of your print job and they plug it into this software, and it calculates how long it's going to take for your job to run on a press. How long will it take for it to run on a folder? And it'll calculate, the costs for each step of your job, from receiving the files, going through pre-press, going through the flight check and the imposition, going through plate making, onto the press, into the bindery, every step along the way. And we'll get all those costs and then tally them up and spit out a quote or an estimate that the estimator gives back to the outside salesperson, and the outside salesperson will bring you your quote and say, this is how much it'll cost to run your job. And then you can decide that's good or that's too much, or you can compare it with other print shops you've been shopping with. Another employee in the office is the scheduler, and the scheduler has a lot of power in the office because they control the flow of the jobs going to the presses. And so the salespeople often treat the scheduler very nicely. They bring the scheduler coffee and chocolates, and they want to get their jobs printed, the soonest that they can. So the scheduler looks at all the jobs, when they're due, what presses they need to go on to, and schedules them for printing. So that's generally the roles of the employees in the sales office. And then from there, they would go to a pre-press the pre-press department, and then into the production departments. So when you talk to the salesperson, you're going to request a quote. You're going to do a request for a quote. You might not call it that, but the salesperson would refer that for their internal speaking. They'd say, I have a request for quote, and they would give that to the estimator. A quote is also known as a bid or an estimate, and you can go get quotes from multiple print shops to compare them. So a quote is something that you're just not committed to yet. You got your job details to them, and they give you a price of what it's going to cost. So you can shop around with quotes. Once you've determined which one you want to go with, then your quote gets turned into a job. And it's kind of like a contract that you've set up. You're committed to printing with them. They're committing to spend the time and resources to get your job done and to move forward with it. Whoops, sorry about that. Some print shops have standard prices for products that they do often. So if they print a lot of business cards or postcards, they will have standard prices, and you don't necessarily need a quote, or the quotes come really quickly, unless you're going to have something unique done to your business card, like if you wanted to have a special cut around it or a stamp on it or use special paper, they would have to adjust the standard quote. But most print shops are designed to be as flexible as they can to meet the needs of the designer. However, they don't have every piece of equipment that you would want for every type of customization to your job. It's a lot of investment for a print shop. So print shops will have different equipment in them. Some might have special equipment for doing embossing or foil stamping. Excuse me. Some might have equipment for doing varnish coatings and so on. But it's rare for any print shop to have every piece of equipment. So what happens is the designers come with all of your unique, wonderful, creative designs, and you pick a print shop that best matches the need of what your design is. However, they may need to send your job to a special shop to get that special coating done or to get that emboss done on it. So, for example, if you wanted to have a special varnish applied, you would send it to the print shop, and they would do the pre-press work, they would do the printing, and then they would put it on a truck, send it to another shop, maybe even in a different city, maybe down to Seattle. And then they would do the varnish coating there, and then they would send it back to the first print shop. And then they would continue to finish your job. They would do the fold and the trim and cut and packaging and shipping. And so that might be included in your quote. You might not even know that is part of the process. You could ask about it. Some print shops are more upfront about it, saying, well, we'll have to send your job out to get this special coating put on. Others will just say, we'll get it done, and you don't know that your job is being sent to Seattle to have a coating put on it. But either way, you'll get a quote, and that will be included in the cost. So it's always best to find a print shop that most closely meets the needs for your project. When you are requesting a quote, you will need to have as much information as you can about your project. You may be asked questions that you don't know, and it's okay. You can tell the salesperson, I'll have to find an answer to that, or I'll have to ask somebody or look into that. Excuse me. And you might not be qualified to make some decisions, so that's okay to just communicate that with the salesperson. But you generally need to know, have a short description for what it is. This is a poster, or it's a 24-page booklet. You'll need to be able to tell them, I need a really high-quality job, or a high-quality print, or no, this is just a flyer mailer that's going to be seen one day, so we can use cheap paper. It's just I'm not too worried about quality. You want to be able to tell them about how many pieces. Do you need 1,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 or 100? If it's a booklet or a catalog or a brochure, not a brochure, but like a directory or something, how many pages does it have? And then would you be a plus cover or a self cover? We might have spoken about this in a previous lecture or in one that's following this, but a plus cover is using a different cover stock to add a cover onto a set of pages. Self cover is where the cover is the same paper stock as the pages, and so it's considered one of the pages actually, but it's a cover. You'll need to know the page size. How big is your item? The final, when it's the final piece, how big is it going to be? If you know what kind of paper stock you want it on, you might not know that yet, and the outside salesperson is loaded with paper samples to help you shop for good papers of what you need. You need to know what kind of inks it's going to be printed in. Is it black and white? Is it spot colors? Do you need varnishes? Are you printing front and back? And then how are you going to submit the files? Most of them are submitted by PDF uploading to websites. We used to send a lot of CDs and hard drives back and forth, and that still might be an option if there's internet problems, or if you just want to have a backup, have the printer have a backup. You can just send them a disk, and then they've always got a backup file. You'll want to be able to tell the salesperson, or the salesperson might ask, what kind of proofs do you want? Do you want some high quality color proofs? Those will probably cost extra. Do you just want the standard proofs that come with the job? Do you want to do a press check? A press check is when you tell the salesperson, I want to be at the print shop when you start to print the job, so I can see it come off the press and then give it the final okay that it's good to go. In other words, you want to check it on the press before they run it to say it's okay. And that happens all the time. It's just that you have to be ready to be at the press when they're ready to run it, which might be 11 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning. So they might add a little cost for a press check in there. Do you know what bindery processes you want? Is it going to be folded and trimmed? Is it going to be bound as a book, glued, cutting, stamping, foiling, all of these things? And if you have approximate image sizes for the embossing and the stamping, and then you should supply those for estimating. And then do you want it boxed or shrink wrapped, rubber bands, any sort of packaging requirements, and then delivery. And that all gets included into the estimate. Whoops. I'm going the wrong way. Sorry, folks. There we go. Touchy mouse button here. So after you've chosen a print shop and you are satisfied with the cost and the quality and the salespeople, you'll probably go back, and they'll probably want you to come back, and then you start building a relationship with them. And that's a really great thing to do, because then you start to have some benefits that will come from it. They may treat you nicer. They may put a little extra effort into giving better quality. They may make your job go through quicker. And you will probably work closer with them on doing corrections and helping make the process better for them. So you'll have to look at things that are important to you. Is price most important? Is it working with the salesperson that has a lot to do with it? Does it relieve stress from you or add stress? You might be willing to pay a little more if you're getting a higher quality product, or pay a little more if you're getting great customer service from the salesperson. Whereas if you're going for the cheap price, you might be getting crappy service and or poor quality. Or, is it important for you to find a print shop that uses environmentally sound practices? Better inks? Do they recycle their paper and plates and so on? And also, if you're a freelance designer and you develop relationships with printers, they are good networking opportunities, because they'll often get clients who say, I need a designer I want this booklet printed, but I don't have a designer. Do you know any designers? And the print shop will be like, oh, I know, they know designers. The salespeople go and meet all these designers. So there's a lot of networking opportunities there that you can find new work from if you're a freelance designer. So I believe that is the end of this slide, and please review it, go through it a couple times, and you can also just view the PDF version of this without the audio recording to review at your own pace. Thank you.